everybody. I am bringing you another build path guide video of a build I wanted to try. I've been wanting to try this for a bit. I took a bit of a break playing and getting back into it, but back when they released Sacred Fist, I knew that would be kind of a tankier style build coming out, and with Monk being probably my favorite class to date, I played often, but I never tried a pure tank Monk. So, wanted the theory craft a pure tank Monk, and I'm going to show you how it went. So, let's get into the breakdown of it. So, I've got my Excel sheet here that I've shown before that I use for builds. So, pretty straightforward. Up top, I'm a pure Monk. So 20 Monk, Asmir for the race. Starting stats, strength just 8 because it's not worthless to me. Dex is 16 for AC, reflex, and prerequisites for the 2-up fighting feat lines. Con 17 gets me our main stat. Intel 11 just so you can hit the prerequisite for combat expertise. Wisdom 18 because wisdom is great for monks in terms of it'll be your hit and damage, it's going to be your stun saves, it will be your will saves, it goes into your AC. It's the best stat for a monk. That brings us down to feats. So feats, as you can see, my feats are kind of jumbled here. These are the feats that I normally take. These three are normally ones I incorporate into my monk lives, but I'm not for this one because I'm going more tanky. So what I did take was I took dodge level 1, and then these M1, 2, M1, M2, and M6 over here to the side are your monk bonus feats, because you do get bonus feats as a monk at level 1, 2, and 6. So for my first monk level feat, I took Stunning Fist. My second monk level feat, I took Mobility. At level 3, I took Combat Expertise. Level 6, I took Spring Attack and Whirlwind Attack, which is a good tool for monks. It's your AoE clear. 9, 12, 15, I took my 2-weapon fighting feats. And at 18, I took Toughness, because I wanted to incorporate Toughness because I am trying to be a tank, which means I need hit points. Epically, at 21, I took Epic Toughness. 22, I took Perfect 2-weapon fighting. At 24, I took Improved Critical Bludgeoning. 25, Crush Weakness. 27, Overcritical. 28, I took Defiant. 30, I took Swords to Plowshares. I wasn't sure what to take, so I took some extra damage there. I probably could switch it out for some kind of tanky feat. At level 30, I took Astral Plane for the 4 to stun DCs. What all does it give? Hold on. Let me pull it. I'm trying to remember everything it gives. 4 to stun DCs, 8 to double strike because I'm centered, 4 to dodge, and 4 to dodge cap, and 4 to reflexes. So really just a good overall, kind of get a little bit of everything type of feat. I could have taken the flat one for 150 hit points, but I took this one mainly for all of what you got there. The stun DCs I care about, yep. Dodge, cap, and dodge, yep, that's great for a tank. Reflex saves is great because Dex is my lowest of my saves. And then the double strike I do care about because I'm going to explain that a little further in the build path. That double strike helps a decent amount. So then that brings us down to our action points. Like you see, I do it in my Excel sheet, but I'll go over it in my character here. So action points. So Asmir, pretty straightforward. You're going to take the bottom chords for the Wisdom and the Healing Hands. You're going to take the right side for extra heal amp because you're a tank. I took the Divine Purpose because I was trying to fill out some action points and some extra charges, and then this is eventually what you're wanting to get if you're going to go tanky. Your Bond toggle. It gives you 3 stacking saves, 5% hit points, and 10 to PR and MR. Then next over in action points here, we've got our Shintao tree. This is pretty much the basic tree if you're going to use hand wraps. Almost you'll always fill out this tree. Pretty straightforward stuff. The only important pieces are make sure you take your key shout because that's your intimidation factor, using concentration instead. Take some extra con up here, some extra PR here. Meditation's War is important because it's going to give us 10% quality hit points because we're going to be in Earth stance. And then the rest of the stuff is pretty basic. This is your extra CC that you'll take. These are your cleansing abilities as well as some extra damage to your hand wraps. Extra hit points in here just because I had some points to spare. And of course you're going to take all the cores. Your next tree is Falcon. This is also a very important tree for a monk. We grab some extra PRR from the base, or the tier 1 sprint boost because I like to move fast. Your wisdom to hit and damage is over here. Your deadly instinct to get more DCs from your wisdom is here for your damage and tactical abilities. And then some extra helpless damage because you do a lot of stunning when you're running quests. So some extra helpless damage doesn't hurt. And then I just had a few extra points, so I put them over here in Henshin just for the melee power and PRR. And some extra hit points from the tortoise. So that's pretty much the action points. And then the Destiny, I toyed with going both paths. As you can see here, I've got one where I max Grandmaster and Unyielding Sentinel is my second one. I've got one where I flip and do Unyielding Sentinel. I've pretty much played solely in the Grandmaster max. I think that's probably the way to do it. Maybe if you were going to get on a big raiding spree, then you'd flip it and go into the Sentinel, but I just don't think that's the case. So I'm going to bring my bars back here too. So you're going to take all the cores for the extra hit points and melee power. I'm going to explain why melee power matters here in just a minute once we get through our points here. And then this extra core at the very end lets your stunning fist count as light building attacks. That's nice. So in the tree, pretty straightforward. The first two levels here, you're going to take the extra stun DCs, your mantle, your cleansing ability, and I took this for some extra concentration. You're going to take your Drifting Lotus and your extra weapon die, and then I took some spell resistance as well as the no fail to will saves. You could go over here and take some more double strike, but with the tanky idea, that's where I wanted to be. Level 3, you're going to take your helpless damage. You're going to take your strength of stone because you're going to be in the stone stance, so it's going to double those effects. And then we're also going to take some extra dodge chance and armor class as well. Tier 4, Drifting Lotus now stuns. These are great if I had some more points, or I was going to do some more raids specifically. I might drop my legendary dreadnought to grab a couple of these, just because the third rank in each of these gives some form of flat percentage absorption, which is nice when you're tanking. And then tier 5, pretty straightforward. Split the soul, because that gives you some pretty good defensive abilities. Everything is nothing is a great monk ability, so of course we're going to take that. This is very important because this raises our MRR cap. I'm sure if you guys made it this far in the video, when I'm talking about a monk tank, the first thing you guys are thinking of if you played tanks or seen them before is that your MRR gets capped at 50 if you're wearing no armor, which monks wear no armor. So you definitely need to find ways to raise that cap. So that's a way to get 15 of it there. And then that's just an extra multiplier. In Unyielding Sentinel, again, we're going to take the bases. It gives us hit points as well as some melee power. And this is why we're carrying our melee power a little bit, is this guard up ability. So you've got 2 epic strikes that you run guard up and you run Drifting Lotus. Guard up is what you're using when you're no longer in a stunning situation, because it gives you a flat shield for 300% of your melee power every 12 seconds. So right now I think it gives me something close to about 500 hit points on a shield. So it's nice, better than nothing. And then I took some extra attack because I've got combat expertise, so it does double the bonus. Renewal to have some extra healing. The mantle, the sentinel that I probably switch to if I was raid tanking. I normally stay in Grandmaster when I'm just running through quests. Some extra hate generation, which is nice, but I don't think it's overly needed. You really do live off your key shout ability. And then some rule of law for the tanking situations. Into the fray, I might get rid of this, but it's only 1 point and I didn't know where else to put it, so it's possible I could get rid of this. It gives you an extra PRR and some extra damage for the first 5 seconds when you hit somebody. Some flat PRR here, some flat AC here. Pretty straightforward. And then over here I just took some extra melee power and hit points here, some extra stun DCs, and some extra hit points. So that wraps up the action points and epic destiny points for the build. So next, let's get over here and look at our gear. So here, I've got all my gear laid out. I'm going to show it to you on the DDO screen as well. But I mainly focus the winter set from Feywild because it gives a bunch of tanky bonuses. I've got it pulled up in the screen right there. 2-piece gives extra artifact to PRR, 3-piece gives heal amp, 4-piece gives some legendary hit points, 5 is threat generation, 6 is 4 artifact to con, and 7 is 15% armor class. So let's go through the gear. So starting with the headpiece, it's actually the Crown of Fireflies, which is actually a summer piece, because we're also going to get a 2-piece summer effect, so we get the extra magic resistance rating from the set bonus of having 2 pieces. But otherwise, you're taking this for the Insightful Reflex, the Insightful Magical Sheltering, and the Devotion and Healing Lore for your renewal and some heal abilities. The necklace is the Winter Court necklace because we needed to get to 7 pieces of our winter set, and this gives you Profane Life Force, really the only thing that gives you 4. And I do have most of my stuff slotted with augments this time, so this one just has some acid resistance in it. The headpiece has a diamond of strength because I hate having low strength in case I get drained of it, because if you get drained of your strength on a monk, you become uncentered, and then that's no fun because you lose all of your extra abilities. So my trinket, I've got the Blood of Blossoms. So for the sheltering, it is my wisdom item. It's giving me 19 wisdom, as well as the enhanced key, which is important because you're not in a fire stance, so you don't generate a bunch of key per hit. So it's nice to have an extra bonus so that you never run out of key. As you can see, I've got 540 maximum key, and I keep that up a lot, which is nice. So I don't have to worry about it. My cloak, Legendary Cloak of Winter, False Life, Life Sealed. It's got some fire resistance on it as well in the augment slot, and it's a winter piece. Pretty straightforward. The belt, Direwolf belt, great monk item. I run it with my normal non-tank monks as well. Has superior reinforced fist, some deception and insightful seeker for some damage, and it's got shield bonus on it, which is great. And I've got it slotted with natural armor as well. So double AC item for me right there. This is my one fill slot right now. I'm not sure what else to run in the ring, my second ring slot, so feel free to leave me some suggestions if you guys have them. Right now I'm running the Celestial Ruby ring because it gives me Dex, Stunning, Accuracy, and I've got Ghostly elsewhere, but this gives me Ghostly too. And it's slotted with Topaz at 200. I don't need that. I don't use spell points that much. But I've thought about getting rid of this ring because I could easily just slot the Dex, the Stunning, and the Accuracy in augment slots if I really wanted to. I just didn't have anything else on that I had for that ring slot, but probably could get rid of that for something nicer. Then you got your artifact. You're going to wear the Prince's Gauntlet as the artifact for a couple reasons. One, it's a great con item. It comes with quality resistance and quality sheltering. And 2, it's a double set bonus. It counts for winter and summer. As you can see, I'm using that with my helm, so I can also get the 2-piece summer set, as well as it counts towards my 7-piece winter set. And I'll go over my my filigrees afterwards. But I've got slotted in there some resistance, my speed augment, as well as Undying Sapphire, so I've got some extra in cap range in case I need healed and I'm actually dying. Boots are pretty straightforward. If you're on the winter set, you're running these boots. It's the Deep Snow boots. They give Insightful Con, Quality Con, Freedom Movement, and I've also got Diamond of Festive Con in there. So these things are giving me an extra 11 Con. So very useful. Legendary Nocturne Ring. It's giving me the Insightful Fortification and the True Seeing, which is nice. The extra insight and command, like I said, I don't really care about too much. You don't do enough damage where your threat generation really helps that much. It's more so making sure your key shout is up and working there. Sorry, just clicking off that. Then you've got Legendary Cold Iron Bracers. These are winter set. Great item, protection, false life, or quality of false life, and vitality. And then I've got some cold resistance slotted on there as well. And it's got Ghostly. So like I said, if I switched out that ring, Ghostly would be used here. For my armor, I'm running the Legendary Disciple of Dawn. Fortification, parrying's nice. It's got Profane Well Rounded, and I've also got Dodge slotted on there. So it's nice. I mainly run it for the parrying and the Profane Well Rounded because I didn't need to run a set piece in my armor slot. And then my goggles. So my goggles are where I'm going to start my next topic as well. I'm running the Eternal Flame Guard lenses. They've got quality deadly, double strike, quality double strike, and some electric resistance slotted in. Why I'm running these is mainly for the double strike. Like I said, you don't do much damage, so I don't really care about the deadly that much. It's nice, but it's not needed on a tank. But I do the double strike because the other big gap in tanking as a monk is you don't have a shield. So you're not shield blocking very often, so you're swinging often. And as you'll see in my hand wraps, I've got Vampirism on my hand wraps, and I use the healing key ability all the time. So I'm constantly getting health back per hit. So a little extra double strike means I get a little extra health back. Maybe that'll make a difference at some point, maybe it won't. And then hand wraps, I'm using the Nightmare hand wraps right now simply for the Vampirism. If I got the Crocodile Maw hand wraps, I probably would use them because it's got Vampirism and it's got, I think, Body Feeder and Life Shielding, so a little extra shields there as well. Filigree sets though, because filigree sets are important for this build. So for filigree sets, your main one that you're using is the Mystical Defense. And I've got 5 pieces. I've got 4 on my hand wraps, and I've got 1 on my gauntlet. And you're mainly using this because you need to find ways to get more MRR, and 5 piece increases this by 40. So you got some extra cold absorption, I think fire absorption con, and maybe PRR in here. But the more important piece is the set piece here. So we're making sure that our MRR cap is increased by 40, and you get 100 hit points along the way, and 1 saves 5 MRR. They're good buffs. The next one I'm using is Grandfather's Shield. I'm just using a 3 piece of this one right now, just to get some extra PRR and some 5% armor class bonus. And then the other set that I'm running, and all these have 1 piece of my gauntlet as well. That's why they're all split up, but I'm actually getting them. And then I'm running Bravery throughout right now. Right now I've only got a 3 piece. If I do get another filigree slot, then I'll go ahead and slot in a 4th piece here to hit another 5% to my armor class. So let's put that back on. So I'll show you my stat sheet. Oops. So this is my stat sheet. I think it's pretty decent to what I was hoping for. 323 AC, your saves are 180, 85. You're over an 80 con, I'm over a 60 wisdom. My other goal was to be over a 50 dex, which I'm not quite there, but I also don't have insightful dex on, so it's a possibility. My melee power is 154, which, like I said, matters for the shield for guard up. As you can see, I grab some shielding there when I use it. Dodge chance sits at 30. And there's a breakdown of my AC for you. Like I said, Dex and Wisdom do factor in, and then a bunch of small bonuses. And then you got a big flat percentage of 50% AC bonus. So what I want to do next is I want to go over my bars, because like I said, this is a very different style of tanking, because you are very much in the combat and you can't just stand there. I mean, you can, but depending on the mob, you don't have a shield to help block, so you might actually take some damage. So bars here, like I said, healing key, obvious ability. You start hitting things, put that on them, and all of a sudden you're getting 7, 8, 9 health back per hit. Stunning fist is my stun when I put my deadly instinct on. It saves sitting at 95 right now. It's okay, it's not great. My key shot ability for my intimidate, my whirlwind for my damage, drifting lotus for another stun, sitting at 100 outside of Reaper right now. My falcon attack to recharge my deadly instincts. Smite tainted creatures for some extra damage, as well as some jade potential. And then you have the actual Tomb of Jade here, my abundant step for movement, and then my finishing key for when I rack up 3 of my light abilities so I can heal myself. And then monks get a lot of abilities, so it's also very hard to fit them all in one bar. So on my next bar here, I've got Quivering Palm, which I don't use in High Reaper. Spring Attack for some extra movement if I need it. My Dismissal Strike if I have a chance to use it. My other Jade Strike. This is great for Reapers because you can use it at distance and stun them. My healing hands here, and then I've got everything is nothing and split the soul, and like you saw earlier, I've got guard up here. I'm actually going to go ahead and switch these two, and that's my renewal for some healing as well. And then down here I've got my extra boost that I have. But that is the main piece on the bars. One thing I forgot to mention, the goggles. The reason I've got these in here is because I can take them out. It brings you to your intimidation, which is your concentration, which is only 94 right now. So not as high as it needs to be because I'm not wearing a concentration item. So if I was actually raid tanking, I'd be switching this out for a legendary green steel goggles to get some extra concentration skill on there. And I am going to try to get a video of actually raid tanking on this so you guys can see it as well. And hopefully a group will let me do that. And then I've already started recording some higher Reaper videos as well, so I'll show you some of that too. But yeah, the goggles are meant to be switchable. That's why they're there. The last thing I want to show you guys is your stat sheet and Reaper, just for fun. So let's step in Reaper. So I'm in Reaper. Your con gets up, you get close to about 5,000 hit points, and then Reaper points, if we need to break down them, obviously are just really heavy into the defensive tree, and then splash wherever else you can. And then the only buff you really put on yourself is tensors. So that's what you look like with tensors on. You're almost at that 5,000 hit point mark, which drives me crazy. And then just for fun, I've got a bard with me to show you what bard buffs look like, because there are a pretty decent amount of bards playing right now, so you normally can catch a bard, get some extra buffs. So with the bard buffs on, you do clips 350 AC, and you do almost get to 5,000. You're still short. So that is the monk tank for you for the build path. Like I said, I've already recorded some gameplay for some high Reaper, so I'm going to post that soon too. And then, like I said, I do want to try to get a couple videos of some raids in as well, so I can post what it looks like in a raid. In high Reaper, it's been not too bad so far. I actually think raid tanking won't be that bad because you can do a lot of healing in between attacks from a boss. So it just depends on what the raid is like and what the attack speed of that boss is how I think it'll go. But yeah, that's the build for you. If you have any comments, suggestions, questions, please feel free to leave them. I always appreciate those, as well as what you guys think about it. But that's the monk tank. Thank you.